IO Interactive and their Hitman series is one that has stood as a strong pillar within the stealth action genre. When Hitman was first introduced, we had so many different stealth games going on and being worked on at the same time. There was everything from Tenchu, Siphon Filter, Metal Gear Solid, Sly Cooper, and of course even more than that as well. But when you look around today, we don't have as many as we used to. Sure, we still see stealth, usually in the form of a lighter stealth-like something, like in those big AAA games, but not something that really provides us with those in-depth stealth experiences from a AAA market. Thankfully, the AA and indie side of things help to keep this alive, with many other good offerings. One of my go-tos is Sniper Elite for this type of stuff. But Hitman, in the big gaming scene, this is something that has stood tall, and very much remained as something that was great and is still great. The Hitman World of Assassination Trilogy was and is kind of still saving gaming.
Now, this is a view to die for. That was just what I needed.
Now sure, these games are a bit older now, but through the work that IO Interactive has done, this set of Hitman games is more like a platform as well. It works both ways, a traditional full-on game, then something with continued add-ons as time has gone on. It's like it was able to weave and take the best parts from a single-player stealth game, along with live service elements that only try to provide more to the player. If you're unfamiliar with the recent run, the world of Assassination didn't start off the way it is today. What was only known as Hitman at the time was actually released as an episodic game. This was at the time where companies were sort of experimenting with this concept. I do not think this is something that can work for every type of game, but for something like Hitman, it oddly fits how the game is played. I say this because if you've played a Hitman level before, you know that you're doing it wrong if you've only played that level once. These are meant to be explored, ingested, absorbed, and then the player can experiment a lot along with plenty of player expression. There's a ton of value in just one Hitman level, and I mean hours of playtime here. So when you're trying to release a game episodically, well, it might be annoying to wait and get more of that story information. In terms of the gameplay, Hitman was something that it actually made sense with. This part of the game wasn't the biggest hit, and it was turned into more of a traditional game with all of the levels baked in. The sequel took a more traditional approach with all the levels being in at the game at launch. Outside of a few additional ones, of course, that are released later on. 3 then took a similar approach too, but I always find it interesting to see how this stuff started. I'm not saying I would defend this release model, or even prefer it, but it was something that oddly kind of fit the Hitman mold. High replay value, high amount of exploration and player discovery, and of course, a high amount of fun.
That was superb, my good man. Back for more in a little while. Get out of my way, damn it.
When looking at this series, I pretty much find great value in each one. We all have our favorites. Personally, I don't know if any game will ever be able to top Blood Money for me, but World of Assassination does come close, maybe even on par with it, especially considering the epic amount of value that World of Assassination has today. So when you dive into this game now, you're getting 3 games worth of Hitman levels, one big story along with additional modes, levels and other options to enjoy too. In many cases, World of Assassination is the ultimate Hitman experience. The best way to describe the stealth in this game is that it's more of a social stealth kind of thing. It's less about hiding in the shadows or anything like that. In fact, a lot of the game time you are seen by your enemies, but you need to make sure that you're aware of your environment, especially your disguises, to really stalk, locate, and eventually take out your target. You are sort of hidden in plain sight. How will you blend in? What items can you find, and what can you use to aid you? Maybe you disguise yourself as a chef and poison the target's food. Maybe you find a way to create an accident that ends up being more lethal to your foe. Maybe you find access to a disguise that lets you get closer access to your target. Other times you can stalk your target, learn their route, what their habits are, what tasks they are also going to complete in the level as you're hunting them. You find an opening and then you exploit it. What kind of Hitman will you be?
Christ, somebody help me!
Splinter group of nut jobs running around.
There are many things to appreciate about this game. I think a big one being is that there really isn't a wrong way to play the title. So you can go into a level and start getting creative, trying stuff out, finding a potential kill path and then trying to execute it. Or maybe you do the level over again and try it a different way. Some of this might even seem a bit too much for a new player. I think the developer does an excellent job at finding the right balance, of providing that player freedom that historical and seasoned players would want from a game like this, while also allowing for new players to easily enjoy this title. The game has a series of challenges which can then result in different unlocks for your profile. Many of these are useful items and such, but they provide the player with different paths to try out and follow to execute specific kills. The game doesn't lead you by the hand, but rather provides you with a quest, and then you need to actually go out and figure out how to do it, and then accomplish it. I love how this is done, and it allows for this perfect balance between not dumbing down the game for legacy fans so that new people can play it. This is a Hitman game, while also allowing for it to be streamlined enough to allow for those new players to enjoy it too. And then again, that freedom for the legacy fans to love it as well, getting the most out of it. And then you have that sort of finding the fun aspect to Hitman. Again, levels are like playground. You can do what you want in them. You can play it in a variety of ways. So if you happen to want to do a mass murderer playthrough, then you can do that. Maybe you want to try out a series of different bombs, or setting interesting traps, or even just taking out a target in the bathroom through drowning them in the toilet. It's up to the player. Social stealth, interesting characters, fun mystery conspiracy stories, loads of options, and ways to tackle the levels. If you were stuck on an island and only had access to one game, this would be an easy contender for one that I would probably choose. I know I've spent most of this video talking about all of the good that this game provides, and honestly there's plenty more that I could talk about, and maybe I will in future videos, but if I had to look at the negatives, one of the biggest ones is the lack of Jesper Kyd not returning to do the music for the game. The soundtrack isn't bad, in fact I would say it's pretty good, but it isn't Jesper Kyd good. He did most of the prior entries, and each one of those tracks are pretty much masterful. Him not being involved in this game is sorely missed. Another thing, in order to get World of Assassination Trilogy to where it is today, it can be confusing knowing which version to buy, for honestly both new and returning players. Easiest route, wait for a sale, grab the game, and have a lot of fun with it. IO Interactive is still updating this title with more content from kills, costumes, and other items. I know they are hard at work making a new Bond game too, and they are definitely the right developer for the job for that. Plus, if you look at their history, they love Bond. You can see the influences in some of their prior Hitman games too. World of Assassination is simply awesome. It's what you want from a single-player game. We should see more studios delivering on the quality that this developer was able to do here. And where other legendary stealth series have gone dormant, Hitman continues to stand tall as one that is not going anywhere, along with one that is easily a great example of some fine gaming. So yes, Hitman is saving the medium and hopefully will continue to do so. What are your thoughts on all of this? Have you tried the World of Assassination Trilogy? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.